Once we have all of our scenes created, we tested them in Trio, we're able to bring them in and out using the direct take and a direct take out. Everything functions properly. What we want to do next is perhaps create combination pages. Combination pages allow you to create combos of scenes. So for instance, if we want to bring the lower third in and the OTS in at the same time, we can do that. Alternatively, if we want to create out pages so that when we do a direct take on an out page, it could take out our lower third, or it could take out our full page, or we could even do a combination that brings one thing in and takes another thing out. So this is the next step in our transition logic tutorial here, and that we're going to create combination pages. First, to do that, what we're actually going to do is create an out page for every single scene here. So to begin, I'm going to start creating an out page for our lower third A. And to do that, I can really start a scene from scratch, or since we've been testing these scenes within Trio, when we hit a direct take, what Trio does is actually merges those scenes and creates these little objects here. So here it has an object called L3A. I'm going to click on this L3A and drag it down into a scene here. Now what we have here is just this merged group. So I'm going to split the group, and what it reveals is our actual scene with our components in it. So since we're going to do an out page, we actually don't need a lot of these things here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide this object group outside so that that's the topmost group. I'm going to get rid of my text and my control text. Since we're only concerned with taking this scene out, we won't ever need to change the text in it. So I'm just going to get rid of these things here and leave it just as this. So I'm going to go into my object control here, and what we need to do is change the state identifier. So instead of it going to A, we are going to change this to capital O for out. This says when we do a direct take on this scene, it's going to the out point, not the A or the A state. So if we want to give it a description up here, we can. We'll just call this L3A out. Now what we're going to do is do a save as, but before that, to let myself know that this is an out page, what I can do is change this background color. So I can change it to something like red, and this can actually tell us that it's an out page. If we want to take it a step further, we could actually drag a font down here, and it's outside of my object group. So if we wanted to further identify this, we can come in here and say this is our L3A out. So I could type this text in there and leave it in there, and as long as it's outside of this object group, it's not going to be picked up. So I'm going to leave this as is right now, and we're going to save it. So I'll do a save as, and again it's going into that same folder, so we could just call this L3A out, and I'll click OK. So now I need to go through for each one of my scenes here and do that for every lower third and every scene that we have. So again, what we can do is, instead of just recreating everything or redragging these objects down for L3B, I can just come in here and change my object. So this time we're going to create it for L3B, and the same principle applies here. So our layer identifier is L3, our state identifier is O, our background scene is master. So if I just want to change the descriptions here, I can do that. So I'll just call this one L3B out, and I'll come in here and change this one to L3B out as well. And I'll do a save as. We'll call this one L3B out. And then let's do one more. So this one is going to be our L3C out. And we'll just change this label here too for L3C out, and we'll do a save as L3C out. Now we have an out page for every lower third here. So let's go through and we'll do it for every other scene that we have too. So we have a full page that we need to take out. So again, I'm just going to close this scene, and I'm come into my object control, and we'll find our full page. So if I drag this down, I'm going to split this container. Again, I'm just going to drag this main control outside. We'll get rid of that extra container. And now I really don't need this text in here, so I can get rid of these elements. And I'm just going to slide these to the trash can and leave it as is. I'm going to go into my control object, and this time this is our full page out, so I'll label it that. Our layer identifier is BG. Our state identifier this time, instead of A, is capital O for the out state. Again, I want to change the background color to quickly identify that this is an out page, and if I want to further label it with a font here, I can. I'll slide this down and we'll just type in that this is our full page out. So we can recenter this. Now I'm going to do a save as on this page. We'll call this full page out. Click OK and we'll save it. So now we need one for our logo to go out as well. So we'll close this scene, go into our Object tab. We'll grab our logo here. Again, it comes down as one container, so I'm going to split this container. I'm going to slide this main group outside and get rid of that other container. We don't need the image control or the actual image. And we actually don't even need the Nagi either, since we're just telling this to go take the logo out. So I'm going to click on the Object control. We'll say this one is logo out for the description. The state identifier instead of A is O. So we're going to save this one as logo out. So before I save it, what I want to do is change my scene settings again here to the background color, and we'll just add another font. Again, the font is outside of this control group, so we can come in here and just label this one as logo out. We'll reposition it and do a save as. We'll call it logo out. Click OK. We need one for the OTS. So let's create an out for the OTS. So let's go into our objects again, and I'm going to drag this OTS down. Again, I'm going to split this container, and I'm going to drag this object group outside of this other group and get rid of that extra group there. Now we don't need the image control, we don't need the actual image, and we don't need the rectangle. We also don't need this text or the text image, so I'm just going to delete all of that stuff. I'm going to come into my object control. We'll call this one OTS out. And again, the state identifier, instead of going to A, we're going to the out state. So again, before I save this one, we're going to go into our scene settings, and we'll label this one as OTS out. And we'll do a save as on this one and label this one OTS out. Click OK. Go into our scenes. We still need one for a topic out and our timeout. So I'm going to go ahead and recreate these. So I'll just go quickly and recreate these as well. I'm going to close this scene, go into my objects, and I'm going to grab my topic here. I'm going to split the group again and slide this object group outside of it, get rid of the extra group. I don't need our font or the text control, so I'll just click right on our object control. And again, the state identifier this time is O, so I'll type in O, and if we want to give it a description, we can. This is topic out. So once again, I'll change our scene settings and just give it a label as well. I'll close up this group, drag a font down so that it's outside of that group. We'll come in and we'll type what this is. So this is topic out. And then we'll just do a save as, once again, as topic out. So we'll click OK. Now we got one more to do for an out state, and we need the timeout. So again, I'm just going to close this scene, go into my objects, grab the time, and once again split this container. Now this time we don't need this system time on it, so let's grab that and throw that away. We also don't even need this text, so I'm just going to throw that away as well. And we have this extra container left over, so let's get rid of that. Now I'm going to click on my object control, and we'll say this one is timeout. That's the description. Our state identifier this time, instead of A, is out. So once again, let's change our scene settings here, the color, and we'll label this one as well with our text. This one is timeout. We'll reposition that and do a save as. This time it's called timeout. Click OK. So now what we have here is an out page for every scene that we made an in page for. Now we can go ahead and start creating combinations. So the first combination I want maybe is our lower third comes in, and it also brings our OTS in. So I'm going to create a new scene again. So let's close this scene. Again, I can use these objects to do this. So the first one we want is our L3A. So I'm going to drag this down and then split this group. So when we split it, we can see our structure here. And the structure is not hugely important, but what I'm going to do is just slide this object out here and I'm going to get rid of that L3A container, and I'm also going to get rid of this object control for the moment. And if I want to relabel this group, I can. This one is our L3A, so that's fine. Now I also want to bring the OTS in with this, so I'm going to come up and grab my OTS here. Once again, I'm going to split it to reveal all the containers, and I'm going to slide this object out, get rid of the extra container, and I'm actually going to get rid of my object control as well. This is a little bit different now that we have two controls in here. We want to keep these controls because if we're using this combination page to bring this lower third in and the OTS in, we'll still want to be able to access or change these parameters. So I'm going to leave all these text controls and the image control in there as well. Now I have these two containers here, so I'm going to throw these two in a group, and this group is what's going to get the object control. So I'm going to go into my built-ins, into our plugins, go to the control folder, and we're going to grab the object control and place this on the topmost group. So this time, when I click on the object and go into the object editor here, first I'm just going to give it a description. This is the L3A in and our OTS in. I'm going to turn on the transition logic button. Well, we definitely know the background scene, which is master, so I'm going to go ahead and type that in. This time, since we have two scenes actually, we don't even need to worry about a state identifier. We're going to bring this in by the scene names. So I'm going to click on the server here, go into my S tab just so I have available the names here. And within the layer identifier, what I want to do is actually type in the scene names as opposed to the director or toggle. So in this case, I want L3 underscore A, because we're going to bring the lower third in. I'm going to type in a comma, and then I'm going to type in OTS, since we want to bring the OTS in. So I'm just going to save this one, and we can give this one a number like 100. So I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to create another combination page that takes the OTS out when the full page comes in. So I'm going to go ahead and close this scene here, and I'm going to go into my objects again, and we want to bring the full page in. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this full page object down. I'm going to split this group. And once again, I'm just going to use it to rearrange it a little bit here. So I'm going to slide this group outside of this full page group. I'm just going to get rid of that extra container. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this object a while. And let me just relabel this one full page so we can identify it. So when the full page comes in, we want to take the OTS out. So what I'm going to do is just create a blank group here, and we can say this is like OTS. So I'm going to highlight these two groups here, throw it into a new group, and then we're going to go back and grab this object control and drag it on there. So this time our description, our full page in and OTS out. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the transition logic button. I'm going to go back into my server, into the S tab, so I can see the names of these scenes. Again, the background scene, we know that. It's labeled master. This time we're only concerned with the layer identifier, and the layer identifier is going to be a scene name. So we want to bring the full page in, so I'm going to go ahead and type full page. I'm going to type comma, and since we want the OTS to go out, I'm going to type in OTS underscore out. And if I want to, again, I can come in here and change my scene settings to a different color if I want. So I'll keep this one red again, and we'll do a save as, and I'll just call this one 200, and we'll click OK. Now we want to create one more combination page, and this is an all out page, so that when we take this all out page, it's going to take everything out. So we're going to do this once more. So we're going to close the scene here, and what we can do is slide a group down here. I'm going to slide another group into it. We're going to call this one all out, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my control object here, and within my control object, again, maybe we'll give it the label or description of all out. I'll turn on my transition logic button. The background scene we know, I'm going to call that one master. So here in the layer identifier, we actually need the scene names again. So I'm going to go through and type in all the different out scenes that we have. So our first one here is L3 underscore A out, comma. And I'm just going to go through each of my L3 pages here and type the name for each one of these. Comma, L3 underscore C out, comma. We also have a logo underscore out, comma. we have an OTS underscore out, comma, we have a time underscore out, comma, we have a topic underscore out. So we'll go ahead and keep typing. We also have a full page out. So I'm going to go ahead and type full page underscore out, and that should be it. Later, if I discover that I forgot one, I can always come back in and add that. So I'm going to go ahead and change the background color on this one too, and we'll relabel this. So I'll grab a font down outside of our object control, and we'll just call this one all out. Scale it up and reposition this, and we'll do a save as 1000. We'll click OK. Now the next step would be to bring all of these scenes into Trio and test them to see how they work. So now that I'm in Trio, what I'm going to do is just re-import all of these scenes. So I'll just navigate to my folder here and bring all of these scenes in. Now I'll select everything except for the master scene, and we'll just import these. So I imported all of my scenes into Trio here, and now we can start testing this. So I'm just going to start out here with this L3A. So I'm going to do a direct take on that. That comes in. If we go down to our L3A out, and I only do a direct take on that, it's going to take it out. So we can go down each graphic here and try it out. This is our L3B. That comes in. We try the L3B out. We do a direct take on it. That goes out. This is our L3C. We'll do a direct take on that, and then a direct take on our L3C out. So now we can try the logo. We'll do a direct take on the in page, and then we'll do a direct take on the out. Same for the OTS. Let's bring it in with a direct take, and let's take it out also with a direct take. So looks like everything is almost working here. We'll go through each one of these and try it out. Direct take on the time, and then we'll take it out by using the direct take on the timeout. And same thing for the topic here. Let's try it out by doing a direct take, and we'll take it out by doing a direct take on the topic out. So let's go back up to the top. We'll try the full page out. We'll do a direct take on that full page, and then we'll do a direct take on the full page out. So that comes out. Now we created two combination pages here to bring the L3 in and the OTS in. So when I do a direct take on this, it's going to bring in the L3 plus the OTS. So we could have taken it a step further and created a direct take out page for this one as well. However, if you just want to leave one element up there and take the other one out, you can come down here and we can say the OTS goes out. So we'll right click on the OTS out page and do a direct take, and that takes it out. So let's bring that OTS back in. We'll do a direct take, and we also made another combination page here for 200. So when I do a direct take on the 200, it's going to bring in that full page but take the OTS out. It also leaves the lower third in there because that wasn't part of the combination page, but the lower third was already there. So now that we have just the full page in and the lower third in, if we try the direct take on the all out, it should take everything else out. And now pretty much every combo is complete. There are, of course, additional combinations that you can create to make your life a little bit easier on playback in the Trio end of things.